with the panel looking in different directions. It was as if she stumped the panel and they had no answer. This, of course, was creative editing on the part of Couric and the producers. Someone on the panel had an audio recording of the entire process, and there was not a pause between her question and the answers. As a result, the members of this panel are suing Katie Couric for defamation of character. She did apologize for the error in editing, but lately it seems like Katie Couric has had a change of heart and is now fighting back against the gun group's claim that she defamed them, saying their lawsuit is nothing more than a cheap shot. The TV personality's legal team called for a dismissal on Tuesday of the $13 million lawsuit filed by the Virginia Citizens Defense League against Couric. The documentary Under the Gun, director Stephanie Sochig, Epix, and others who worked on the film, Couric and Atlas Films motion to dismiss the lawsuit states in part, no reasonable viewer could interpret the film that way because just before the exchange in question, the film explicitly depicted them explaining why they opposed background checks. Plaintiffs further assert that the film implies they are unfit to engage in business activities such as selling guns. Those alleged implications are equally strained. At worst, the film might be construed to imply that some members of the interview group had trouble coming up with an answer to the much narrower question about how, if there are no background checks, felons and terrorists can be prevented from buying guns. Defendants have never disputed that editorial choice may fairly be subject to criticism and debate, and indeed it has been. But whatever one thinks about the propriety of the edit, it simply does not rise to the level of defamation. That was in the motion to dismiss the lawsuit. The court filing follows Couric's earlier admission that she regretted the clip edit. She said, "I take responsibility for a decision that misrepresented an exchange I had with members of the Virginia Citizens Defense League. My question to the VCDL regarding the ability of convicted felons and those on the terror watch list to legally obtain a gun was followed by an extended pause, making the participant appear to be speechless. I regret that those 8 seconds were misleading and that I did not raise my initial concerns more vigorously." So for now, a federal judge in Virginia will decide whether there is sufficient evidence to continue with the lawsuit. The evidence is there.
Obviously, the evidence is
there. And why put in that 8-second pause if she was not trying to make a point?
She was trying to, it was obvious that they edited it to make the VCDL look, stumped and stupid, basically.
Exactly.
During the interview. And that was certainly not the case, but just anybody viewing this special that she did, they had no idea.
None.
And they probably still don't know because it's not reported in mainstream media.
Exactly. Well, apparently one of the members of the VCDL had a good enough forewarning or maybe just a sixth sense to do their own audio recording.
Kudos to the VCDL and you have the Speaking of Guns podcast full support behind your efforts there. That's a dirty, dirty thing that she did, and we hope that you're vindicated for that.
And I hope the lawsuit does go forward.
Well, let's move on now to our defensive gun uses.
Go ahead. Make my day.
6:45 shots fired at my location.
And now, defensive gun uses from around the world and around the block.
My defensive gun use story is another Florida story. Headline reads that a Florida grocery clerk teaches would-be robber how concealed carry works. I love that little catchy headline there. The article says that a Florida grocery store clerk noticed a man wearing sunglasses around midnight over the Thanksgiving weekend and became suspicious that he might try to rob the store. Sunglasses at midnight. Yeah, that's a good indicator, I'm thinking.
Yeah. I don't think you need sunglasses at midnight. It's already dark.
What was that song that from the 80s? I wear my sunglasses at night. Remember that?
I don't.
Okay, well, anyway, the article goes on and
You're old.
says police say that William Smith, 29, pulled a gun on the clerk and demanded money from the cash register. And there was just one problem. Clerk happened to have his own concealed carry permit and grabbed his own gun and shot at Smith. Police found Smith lying next to a small caliber handgun with his car still running in the parking lot. The family of this William Smith character told reporters that he was addicted to drugs and that something like this was bound to happen. The bad guy's sister, Lisa Marie, said, in all honesty, if he didn't die this way, he would have ended up dying anyway. He would have ended up killing himself on drugs. And his mother, Tamara Carteret, said that the family has no hard feelings toward the clerk. We have no ill will against the person that felt that they had to retaliate because he had the gun, she said, and our heart goes out to that family also.
Well, that's a change.
That is a change, isn't it? Because usually when the bad guy gets shot, the family is all, oh, he just so misunderstood and just ran with the wrong crowd. So, yeah, that is quite the change for the family to admit that, hey, this guy, yeah, he's related to us, but he was a dirtbag and he pretty much deserved what he got. So kudos to them for recognizing that. And it's a sad story because, the guy lost his life, but obviously it looks like he brought it on himself.
True. My defense of gun use comes to us from American News, and the headline says, "Stupid thug invades home and stabs 75-year-old man. 80-year-old grandma blows him away." According to the recent reports, an intruder broke into a home in Monroe, Washington, and began stabbing a 75-year-old man. Fortunately, his 80-year-old wife was home and took matters into her own hands. The woman reportedly grabbed her gun, walked into the room, and shot the man who was stabbing her husband. He was a 25-year-old criminal who actually died at the scene. After the woman shot the intruder, she called 911. Her husband was taken to a nearby hospital where he is now in stable condition. Authorities discovered the intruder had a very long criminal history. It is fortunate that the woman had a firearm in her home and had been trained to use it. If she had waited for police to arrive, her husband very likely would have died. In this town, Major Crimes Unit is investigating the incident, and hopefully she will not be charged for protecting her husband.
I should hope not. She did the right thing.
She actually did. And we even have a lot of 70 and 80-year-old folks coming to our concealed weapons class, and they know what's going on in the world. And hey, I would not want to go up against a 70 or 80-year-old who is armed, because they've had a nice long life and they're going to defend what is theirs.
Yep. I said this in a previous podcast that, hey, old folks have been around the block and you don't want to mess with them. They're from the greatest generation and they don't take no guff from anybody. So I'm very proud of her for taking action. Good for her. My next defensive gun use headline reads that a man fatally shoots home intruder while on the phone with 911. And this comes to us from ABC News. A man fatally shot one of 3 intruders who broke into his Sunrise, Florida home in a very dramatic moment that was all caught on the homeowner's call to 911. Sunrise police received the 911 call on Monday from the homeowner Warren Darlow, who told the police that he saw a car pull into his driveway. According to arrest affidavits obtained by the ABC News organization, Darlow then told police he saw men that he did not know get out of their car and walk toward his home. Fearing that the suspects were going to break into his house, Darlow armed himself with a shotgun. And the affidavits say, and Darlow told the police that he loaded the gun and called 911. As he was on the phone with 911, the suspects shattered a glass door and broke in. They're in my house right now, he whispered to the 911 dispatcher on this call. And Darlow later told police that he was worried that if the suspects weren't already armed, they would arm themselves with one of Darlow's guns that he keeps in plain view on nightstands in his home. Darlow told police several times that he feared for his life while he was on this 911 call. And when he fired his gun 3 times, according to the affidavits. The first shot didn't hit anybody, but the second shot did. And Darlow told police that after that second shot, he saw the injured individual appear to reach toward something. So Darlow fired again, the affidavit said. On the 911 call, the homeowner tells the dispatcher, "I killed one, I think." And the dispatcher asks about the other men, and he says, "I don't know." The homeowner then asked the dispatcher to tell the cops to hurry. The injured suspect was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Officers later stopped 2 men who matched descriptions given by Darlow. The suspects were both positively identified by Darlow as the men who was involved in the home invasion, and they were taken into custody. The men were later identified by police as Jose Coleman and Curtis Jeffries. Jeffries is 26 years old, Coleman 23, and they were arrested for homicide, willful kill, murder while engaged in certain felony, and burglary dwelling of structure while armed, according to the affidavits. Coleman admitted to committing the burglary, but Jeffries maintained that he just drove Coleman and the victim to the house and said that he was not involved in the break-in. It's not clear whether either man has obtained a lawyer at the time this article was written, but apparently they did not know that in Florida, anyone committing a felony can face a murder-related charge if a death occurs during the course of that crime, even if he was just driving the getaway car. So, surprise, surprise. Broward County court officials said that both suspects were in front of the magistrate back on November the 28th, and no court dates for them have been set as of yet. Sunrise Police Department said that Darlow will face no charges for killing the intruder.
Well, I think because the 911 tape is always recorded, they have a detailed sequence of events as to what was going on, and it seems to have been narrated by Mr. Darlow. He shouldn't face charges. He was in fear for his life.
Apparently, and said that a number of times too. But these bad guys who broke in certainly didn't suspect that they would be charged with murder after when they were planning this little crime spree. But that's exactly what happened. They don't take into account the consequences that their actions can bring. Even if they are not the person that pulled the trigger and it was their buddy that got killed, it was during the commission of this felony. And in the state of Florida, which is a great law, I think, that we have on our books here, they get charged with murder. So hopefully they'll spend a long, long time in prison.
Thinking about their misdeeds.
Yeah, have plenty of time to think about their little misdeed there. All right, well, hey, let's move on to what's in your range bag.
Hey, baby. It's time to talk about the hot, sexy new guns, holsters, ammo, gadgets, and gear from the firearm marketplace. So come on, baby. Let me take a peek. What's inside your range bag?
Okay, Sturm Ruger has introduced a new Target model of their popular SR1911 45 caliber. It's a full-size stainless steel Target model, and it features Bomar-style fully adjustable rear sight and an extended ambidextrous manual safety.
Oh, I like the ambidextrous.
I know, you're a lefty, so you appreciate those ambidextrous features, don't you?
Yes.
The SR1911 is satin finish, stainless steel, and it features blackened controls with nice textured grips. All the Ruger SR1911 pistols are 100% American made. I like that a lot, that they're all made here in the U.S. Precision machined. Ruger's Classic Series 70 slide features this lowered and flared ejection port, so that cuts down on any, ejection hang-ups that you might experience. This new gun has a titanium firing pin and a precision barrel and bushings that are match machined from the same piece of bar stock, for accuracy. The Ruger SR1911 pistols are also equipped with the integral plunger tube, a beaver tail grip safety, oversized magazine release, and a skeletonized hammer, and a skeletonized aluminum trigger, which I think makes any gun look really cool.
It does look cool.
With that skeletonized hammer and trigger. I love those. This new gun, it's a Target model, as I mentioned. It's 5 inches, 5-inch barrel. Only weighs about 39 ounces, which is great with an empty magazine.